The following is a HennessyHendo production. It includes excerpts and material from my vast collection of books and general knowledge. Please share the videos, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.
Tubal-Cain, Cain's descendant, and Hiram Abiff, with Danite ancestry, became fused in esoteric and Masonic thought, creating a symbolic Cain-Dan connection. Masonic commentators often describe them as two ends of a single arc. Chapter 1, Preface. Tubal-Cain in Scripture. Cain was the son of Adam and Eve, Genesis chapter 4. His descendants are listed through Lamech, but the line appears to die out in the flood narrative. Dan was the fifth son of Jacob, Israel, born to Bilhah, Rachel's maid. His genealogy is traced clearly from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob to Dan, Genesis chapter 30 verse 6. Genesis chapter 4 verse 22, Zillah also bore Tubal-Cain. He was the forger of all instruments of bronze and iron. He is seventh from Adam through Cain, symbolizing the peak of Cain's lineage. Tubal-Cain becomes an archetype of the first metallurgist, craftsman, and builder. He embodies the dual symbolism of craft, creativity versus destruction, tools versus weapons. Dan and the artisan legacy. The tribe of Dan was symbolically linked to craftsmanship because of its association with Hiram. 2 Chronicles chapter 2 verses 13 to 14, Hiram of Tyre, the temple builder, was the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre. This makes the Danite bloodline responsible for the building of Solomon's temple, central to Masonic mythology. Thus, Dan to Hiram to temple craft. Hiram Abiff in Masonic tradition, central hero of the craft. Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, is the master builder of Solomon's temple and the key figure in the Master Mason degree. He represents the perfect craftsman, martyr, and keeper of hidden knowledge. His Danite maternal lineage ties the temple craft directly back to the tribe of Dan. In ritual, Hiram dies protecting the Master's word, embodying the theme of secret knowledge passed through sacrifice. Hiram is slain by ruffians who seek the Master's word. His refusal to betray the secret symbolizes loyalty, integrity, and the martyrdom of wisdom. Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, 1871. Hiram represents man in search of truth, faithful even unto death, slain, buried, and raised again. He becomes the symbol of resurrection and immortality. For Masons, Hiram embodies the perfected craftsman, a moral exemplar, and the archetype of initiation through death and rebirth. Tubal-Cain in Freemasonry. In Masonic Ritual, Tubal-Cain is preserved as a sacred password in certain degrees, especially in the third degree and in Royal Arch traditions. He represents the origin of metallurgy and operative craft, the archetype of the working mason's tools. His name is sometimes interpreted symbolically as the world's first artificer, connecting masonry's stone, metal craft to biblical antiquity. In some esoteric texts, Tubal-Cain becomes the father of masonry. Password and symbol. In the third degree, Master Mason, and also in some York Rite traditions, Tubal-Cain is used as a password, tying the initiate to the most ancient roots of the craft. Operative connection. Tubal-Cain is recognized in Genesis as the first artificer in metals. Masonic writers saw this as the birth of craftsmanship itself, a sacred origin point for the builder's art. Albert Mackey, Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, 1873, states, Tubal-Cain was the first worker in brass and iron, and hence Masonry has adopted him as a symbol of worldly possessions, of labor, and of the skill by which man converts raw material into the service of civilization. For Masons, Tubal-Cain embodies the beginning of the builder's lineage, an archetype of the craft itself. Chapter 2, The Fusion of Tubal-Cain and Hiram Abiff. Tubal-Cain, Cain's line, first craftsman, linked with forging and secret knowledge of metallurgy. Hiram Abiff, Dan's line, the master craftsman of the temple, descended through the tribe of Dan. Freemasonry preserves both names, Tubal-Cain as the archetypal origin of the craft, and Hiram Abiff as the master of the craft. Thus, Masonry symbolically merges Cain's artisan lineage with Dan's artisan lineage, creating a dual inheritance: Cainite heritage, secret knowledge, metallurgy, rebellion. Danite heritage, judgment, serpent wisdom, temple building. Together, they form the Masonic archetype of the builder initiates who preserve secret knowledge across ages. Why this matters esoterically: Cain to Tubal-Cain represents the primal, forbidden line of builders. Dan to Hiram Abiff represents the chosen line of builders in Israel. In Freemasonry, these are unified, showing that both fallen and chosen lines contribute to the craft. This explains why some Christian critics accused Masonry of being Cainite, because it honors Tubal-Cain alongside biblical heroes. Chapter 3: Deeper Symbolism. The serpent, Dan, plus the forge, Cain, together symbolize hidden wisdom, transformation, and the duality of knowledge, enlightenment versus destruction. The temple, built not only from sacred lineage, Judah, Levi, Solomon, but also from outcast lineages, Dan, Cainite craft. Masonic ideal: the grand architect of the universe works through both light and dark streams of humanity, even the rejected line of Cain. Some Masonic writers, especially in the 18th–19th centuries, pushed this further. William Preston, Illustrations of Masonry, 1772, presents Masonry as inheriting the wisdom of the earliest patriarchs, like Tubal-Cain, and transmitting it through the temple builders like Hiram. Pike and French Rite authors often link Tubal-Cain to Prometheus, the bringer of fire, arts, while Hiram was likened to Osiris or Christ, dying and rising for the sake of hidden truth. This dual archetype, Prometheus, Tubal-Cain, giver of craft, and Hiram, Osiris, sacrificed wisdom, formed a deep esoteric current within Masonry. By adopting Tubal-Cain, Masons claimed an unbroken lineage from the first craftsman in human history. By elevating Hiram Abiff, they gave their fraternity a mystical hero who embodies loyalty, sacrifice, and the pursuit of divine truth. The combination allowed Masons to say, "We are the heirs of the first builders, Tubal-Cain, and the keepers of the temple's lost wisdom, Hiram." This gave Masonry both antiquity, stretching back before the flood, and spiritual legitimacy, connected to Solomon's temple and resurrection themes. Chapter 4: Esoteric and Gnostic Speculation. Certain commentaries, particularly in Kabbalah, draw symbolic links between Cain, and later figures or tribes associated with rebellion, idolatry, or hidden wisdom. Since the tribe of Dan is associated with the serpent, Genesis chapter 49 verse 17, and with idolatry at Laish, Judges chapter 18, some mystical interpretations suggest Dan carried a Cainite current, spiritually, not biologically. Antichrist prophecies: early Christian fathers, e.g., Irenaeus, Hippolytus, taught that the Antichrist would come from the tribe of Dan, citing Genesis chapter 49 verse 17. Because Cain is the archetypal murderer and rebel, later traditions sometimes merged Cain's archetype with Dan's eschatological role. Book of Jubilees and Midrashim: Cain is sometimes described as the father of arts, building cities, forging metals. Since Hiram of Tyre was said to be of Danite descent, esoteric writers connect Dan's skill in craftsmanship to Cain's legacy as a builder. Cainites, 2nd century Gnostics, a Gnostic sect called the Cainites who venerated Cain as a bearer of secret knowledge. Later esoteric writers sometimes linked the tribe of Dan with this Cainite Gnosis, since both carried the theme of hidden wisdom, rebellion, and serpent symbolism. Freemasonry and craft associations. Since Cain's descendants, like Tubal-Cain, were associated with metallurgy and craft, and Hiram, a Danite, is central to Masonic lore, some speculative Masonic writings blur Cain's artisan line with Dan's artisan tradition. Conclusion: biblically, Cain's line and Dan's line are separate. Esoterically, they are merged: Tubal-Cain, Cain's line, and Hiram Abiff, Dan's line, represent two streams of sacred craft knowledge. Freemasonry preserves both, Tubal-Cain as the first craftsman, Hiram Abiff as the master craftsman. This fusion cements Dan as the Cainite tribe, in symbolic, not biological, terms, making the tribe of Dan essential to Masonic identity as the bearers of hidden craft wisdom.
Thank you for watching. Please share the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out other series including 10-minute synopses or complete audiobooks on HennessyHendo on YouTube. Improve your vocabulary. Be more fun at parties. Increase your knowledge. Become a literary master like Hendo.